You're live here with Fit Pet Boston Talks, latest episode number 17. Thank you for tuning in and listening, subscribing, liking, and sharing the podcast. I'm super stoked to have many people reach out to me and glad to hear what we have to say. While we are in quarantine, my co-host Lori Lodato and I will be doing Q&A sessions and also just some general ranting, which is what we're going to do today. Not a ton of topic direction, but we are more than happy to just sit down and talk about dogs because we're both in the mood.
In the mood.
We are in the mood.
I know.
Before we get started, I would like to guide you gently but slightly forcefully to the rest of the podcast episodes that I've done with some really talented Boston area dog handlers. So if you are interested in hearing from people who really know what they're doing and in general are just pretty amazing people that have become my friends over the time that we've spent together, please check out the other episodes of the podcast because there's some really good stuff in there. And if you are a client of any of the people that I have interviewed, you definitely should get to know them better by listening to them talk about what they do on a regular basis. So that's what the podcast is here for. And I am going to continue to do that as soon as I am able. And in the meantime, you get to hear from us occasionally about what has been going on with us whilst we are in quarantine. And yeah, just some tidbits about dogs.
So what's been going on?
What's been going on, Laurie? What does quarantine mean to you? What has it brought to us?
Well, first, I was the one who delayed this podcast because we were supposed to record it Friday night, but I didn't have the spirit. I didn't have the spirit in me.
Yeah, we're not feeling the vibes.
I was feeling
Friday night.
a little down and out. I didn't have it. I was just in a place. I think how somebody had a meme the other day, and it said, "If anyone asks me how I am, I'll just say I don't know." And so sometimes I feel that way. If I'm with dogs, I feel a little bit more focused. I'm okay. It's after. So it's like any kind of empty time. And so Friday was like a rather empty day. Well, I was busy. You know, I was like taking care of some dogs that needed some immediate help. But then I was just down and out.
Yeah, I did the whole introduction on Friday night, and I looked over at you, and I'm like, is she going to burst into tears? Or, all right, let's just stop this, because it's not, something's wrong.
I was just like staring off into space. I'm like, I just don't have it in me. I'm all over the place. I don't think quarantine's the best thing in the world, but we got to keep everybody safe. And then I'm like, wow, I don't know if I really mind quarantine so much because I've been able to spend time with my family, which never happens. I'm not high stress all the time because it's not 24/7. So I guess I was dealing with all that too. Anyway, but then I had a bunch of dog. Yeah, then we were talking about it the other day. Like we were having dinner with mom and dad on a Saturday night. They never see me. They never see us.
Yeah, and we live together.
I never see you.
I know, it was funny. So we're in this little studio space that I've commandeered in the house, and I love it because it's carpeted. It has window treatment, so it's a good place.
Window treatment.
That's a fancy name for
blinds
that look like
blinds.
They are.
They're blinds.
What would you call these blinds? They look like
ugly.
Yeah.
You won't let us redo this.
No,
room.
I will not let anybody touch anything
this
in
is
this room.
Old man fashion.
Yeah, because it is so awesome for doing sound stuff, and I do a lot of stuff with music and sound and things like that. And as soon as you walk into the room, the sound is completely dead, and it's perfect for recording and doing other things.
Dead,
so
like my soul.
Yeah, I treat it like my little sanctuary. Anyway, I have a couple sets of speakers set up in here, and on Friday night after we had the kind of like come to Jesus moment about like, okay, this podcast is not happening, Laurie and I just like sat on the sofa that I have in here and like listened to an entire Black Keys album and just like chatted. And I think it was the first time ever we've sat in this room just like
we don't
out.
sit down.
Yeah.
We work and then pass out.
Yeah, high five before bed, sleep.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think both of us, one of the things that I've realized in this quarantine is that I actually have the ability to train a dog and like spend quality time with them and get results that are very easy to see from the owner's point of view and from my point of view. And it's given me a lot of confidence, but at the same time, it's also made me realize that I need to start having more focused training sessions with the dogs. Or
cut down on dogs.
Yeah, and cut down on that number, man. It's just like so much more productive when I can spend one-on-one time with with these dogs, and it's like
All I say all the time is quality over quantity, and I just think that I've been missing the boat lately. I feel like quarantine is making me realize all this stuff. I have a heating pad and I'm freezing, and I just put it on my gut. I'm like, I'm cold.
Oh my goodness.
It's cold in here.
This is going to be a fun episode.
Somebody give me something.
I can feel it already.
I feel the spirit, guys. So Friday was terrible. Quality over quantity. We realized we need to slow down our lives. So I suppose we're going to make that happen, because you can't keep going like this. You're going to die.
Yes, and by like this, you mean what was going on before we kind of hit the wall here with the quarantine.
Just racing and racing.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get to go on the one vacation we planned. Mind you, I haven't been anywhere in 5 years. Anywhere.
Yeah, we've never taken a flight together.
Something always happens. Even when I book other vacations, it was like a tornado one time, a hurricane.
Yeah, last summer we had a weekend trip planned to go down to P-Town, and we had to cancel it because there was a hurricane.
I know none of you would have guessed P-Town.
Yeah, I know.
Where
Is
the
it
gays
hair?
are.
The gay? I don't know.
Oh, where the women are handsome and the men are pretty. They're so pretty. So anyway, then Saturday I got to do some, again, emergency classes.
That was yesterday.
Yesterday, because today's Sunday.
Yeah, I got home from working.
Check.
I've been helping out my folks in Hudson. I grew up, I don't know if you guys know this, but I grew up on an agricultural farm. It's not a huge farm, but...
For Julian's Farms?
Yes, that's my last name prior to getting married and changing it. But I have been spending some time out there helping my sister out. She has a new project going on this year. She has grown a field of tulips and is offering pick your own, which has been slightly challenging with the social distancing, but I think that we've been doing a great job with trying to make sure that we're following all the rules. But that's been her project, and it has brought so much joy to so many people in this time, because they can actually do something outside safely and get, this amazing bundle of joy, literally, after they finish doing what they're doing. So I was out there all day yesterday, which was Saturday. Lori was back at the house, and she did 2 emergency training classes. And when I got home, I was like, oh my God, like you seem like a dog trainer again. Like, you were happy to tell me about what the classes were all about and what happened. And I was like, oh, thank God she...
Meanwhile, Leah was like, I'll be home in like a half hour. And I was like, oh, okay. And like 3 hours later, she's like, you wouldn't believe it. I dropped off tulips to every single customer we ever had ever. And I was like, that's probably why it's 2 hours later than you said. But it's true. You notice that small things in this quarantine make you happy? Mm-hmm. I get happy when I'm walking the dogs. I say hello to somebody I don't know. I'm like, oh, hey. Right. And we're all happy. Anyway, so then I had a little fire in me. And then we went for a dog walk. I can tell you about the classes.
Yeah, talk about the classes. What was going on?
Maybe we should talk about because if we're talking to if we were going to have like a people pen conversation, I think I would have told people this conversation in the pen about walking in the woods that Leah didn't initially want to do. I'm like, no, we're going for a walk now with the boys.
Yeah, so to backtrack just slightly, the name of this episode is Thoughts from the People Pen. And the People Pen, if you don't know what it is this small fenced-in area that's outside of our dog yard.
Where you keep the humans.
That's where we keep the humans to make it safe for the dog to come in, because there are 2 barriers to entry. So there is, if you do it properly, absolutely no risk that a dog will escape the yard ever. So that area is where the folks drop off, and we oftentimes have these very enriching conversations with our folks from the People Pen. And we wanted to kind of use this episode as a way for you to connect with us, make it super candid and personal so that you could feel like you're just talking to us through the fence. So that's the name of the episode, and I'll let you take it from there. I just wanted to preface that.
So towards the end of our walk, we are all happy.
In the woods.
Look at us go.
It's dusk.
Had a good productive day, and then Leah goes, oh, and I look, there's 3 deer. These are large animals. They're huge.
And they blend right in with the forest.
2 were like, screw this, and ran. And then there was one just still. Then I look over, Leah pops out the camera. I go, oh, she's gonna show off now. Leah wants to video. This is what I'm thinking. This is how in sync we're not. So I'm like, oh, she's going to show off. So she takes out the phone, starts videoing it. And I'm thinking she wants to show people how Ruben is in a perfect sit next to her or in a stand looking, not running off. Either way, impressive.
Which he was.
He was just standing there.
He was just standing there, yeah.
And I go, oh. And as soon as I see the deer, I put Buddha on the leash because it's a Saturday night, folks. You know, the vet's not open.
It's getting dark.
Yeah, screw this, right? And I can't see over the hill. So if he runs over, I'm not going to be able to see the dog, and that bothers me. But Leah is a bit more of a free spirit, and she just lets him go. So here he is, and I'm thinking, oh, we're going to walk by calmly. And Leah's going to videotape our dogs being so obedient walking next to us.
This is walking next to the wild animal.
I'm thinking maybe this fella's not even going to move, you know? We'll be like a tree and we'll leave. So 2 seconds, maybe a second after I have this thought, Leah goes, go get him. I go, what the hell? What the hell are you doing? Off goes Reuben.
Like a bullet.
And I mean, hot pursuit. I can't see Reuben. I don't know. He could be dead. He could be stepped on.
But the biggest thing for me was like, oh my God, there's so much barking. So like they ran out of sight and there are power lines that run parallel to the trail that we were on. And on the other side of those power lines are residences. So we're in the woods, but like we're not really in the woods. So he takes off towards the power lines, towards the houses where the deer are.
Where we can't see him.
Where we can't see
him.
him.
Where you thought it'd be a good idea.
Yeah. And I just hear this like chorus of barking, and I know that it's not Reuben. So I know that it's like the dogs are either in the houses or in their yards, like losing their minds. Like, oh crap. So I don't know.
Now Leah thinks it's a bad idea, right? But imagine if the other dogs
still filming the whole time too. I'm just like, whatever. Let's
see
how long it takes.
I know, she still
back.
had her camera out. That's like when somebody videotapes something, you're like, oh my God, who is videotaping this whole thing and not doing anything? I bet all the other dogs were like, yeah, do it, man, do it. We've been following these sons of bitches forever and we haven't been able to catch them. Go, Reuben.
I'm going to put that on my Instagram story today, I think. But then, so I had the e-collar on him.
No, wait, though.
Because, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because now I'm like, well, now we can't see him. Where's Reuben? Nobody knows. And I was silent the whole time. I had a whole story going on in my head, but I was silent. I go, Leah. And then she goes, oh, no problem. Reuben. Quickly followed by, oh shit, he's not coming. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell? So, you go ahead. You had your.
I had the e-collar. I gave him a tappy tap, and he came back. In very, very short amount of time, he was back. And the first thing that happens when he comes back, Lori goes, oh, "I hope he doesn't have fleas."
I'm like, he's gonna have some nasty shit all over him. I can't even. It's like the 8th time I've washed him this week. He like rolls in a bunch of stuff. Oh God. So just Leah. Oh, no problem. Reuben. Oh shit. He's not coming back.
Yeah.
I would have never anticipated such a thing.
I should bookend this story with my dog has excellent recall. I mean, he's like a nervous wreck if he doesn't know where we are. And Buddha is the same. But there was a moment where I was like, okay, that deer is probably the most satiable thing that has ever happened to him. Like chasing that deer. Because I've never let him take off after an animal. I always recall him after.
I was surprised myself, Leah.
Yeah, whatever. Roll the dice, let him have a good time. He had a blast. He came back. He was so happy. And he did not have fleas, so that's good.
I will say, I feel like
there's no blood on him. He didn't make a hole on it in anybody.
Yeah, I felt bad for Buddha because when he came back, I felt like he was going like, Buddha, man, you don't even know what happened, dude. You should have seen what I see. You should have seen how close. I could smell. I could smell it. It was right there. It was right there. I'm going to think about it all night. It was amazing. It was amazing. So that was Saturday night.
That's why we train our dogs, though, right? So that they can have a little bit of fun every once in a while.
No, I've never said that to a person. I'd be like, oh, we train our dogs so that when you come upon a family of deer in the woods near the power lines, you can just send them off and hope for the best.
Well,
I've never said that.
It was
now
an experience.
Now I will.
It was an experience, But I have a lot of practice. I do not let him chase things because he definitely has a high prey drive, so that's been something and he's gonna be 3, so it's not like we haven't had plenty of practice doing the right thing, I guess you could say. But Yeah, there was a second there because I couldn't see him, and there was like 3 of them, and the barking was just crazy. And I know part of the barking was him. He was definitely like barking. So.
Oh yeah, he was in hot pursuit.
He was in chase mode.
He's flying through the air.
He was in a mode, and I was like, "Oh man, that deer is and it's huge. Like it looks like the size of like a skinny cow."
And you thought it was safe. You thought it was safe. A skinny cow. Yeah, it was a skinny cow. It was a dieting cow.
Well, somebody is going to appreciate this story, and I am not encouraging anybody to let their dog chase deer.
Where coyotes live?
It was a moment.
We don't know. We don't know. There could have been a whole coyote family being like, "Oh, thank God! Look at the bonus we have. The appetizer. What is that?
Yeah,
a mix?
I'm not going to lie. The barking.
A sign of mutt.
I don't know. Anyway,
you thought something happened when he barked. You thought some business was going on.
I did. Yeah. I was
go.
Like,
He's dead. He's dead. Because that's where I go. Because I'm Italian. You die. City girls die in the woods. I go, we just lost a dog. He's over the hill in a mountain. He either got stepped on by the skinny cow, as you say. I hope you spit that coffee out.
Anyway.
He's fine. He's not eaten.
And he did not have fleas, and I got it on film. So
see how your pet corrector spray works from 80 feet away. I don't know. I couldn't scare the coyote away.
Maybe I'll post that on my Instagram story later on today if you're lucky and if it doesn't make me look too bad. But anyway, that was yesterday. And then last night I felt terrible because I was making myself my little yogurt dish, and I usually let Buddha have a little yogurt after the container.
These are definitely pet family problems right here, what you're saying.
Yes. So I usually let Buddha have it because about Buddha, he doesn't have a really, really high food drive. So when he does like something, we're like, ooh, he likes it. So I let Buddha out to go to the bathroom, and Ruben was next to me. And so I had put the yogurt down to let Ruben eat it, and Buddha was outside, and like he was looking in, and he started barking.
He's like, what the hell? You got the deer and the friggin' yogurt?
Yeah, so I go over to the bathroom. Lori was getting out of the shower, and I was like, Lori, I feel so bad. Like, I always give Buddha the yogurt. I gave it to Ruben, and she's like, just put some yogurt in the empty container. So like, I'm at the fridge putting some cottage cheese in empty container so that I could give it to him when he came back in the house. And I was like, we're so pathetic.
I didn't do it.
I did it.
You did.
Of course. Because he enjoys it and he doesn't like food. This dog will literally turn his nose up to a piece of steak or like raw beef. He is so picky, such a picky eater that when he actually likes something, both of us are just like, ooh, he likes it.
Yeah. Again, the Italian, we're like, oh, feed him, he likes it.
Yeah, totally. Anyway.
So while you were picking tulips,
you were in classes. Talk about those classes. You had some good ones.
I had some classes, and I had a 24-hour period where I got 3 phone calls. All the dogs are under 1 year of age. I'm not going to say the breeds because all of our customers listen to this, and some of the people you know, some you don't, whatever. So all under 1 year old. One of the dogs growled at the kids. One of the dogs growled and bit the kids and put puncture wounds in the mother on 2 different occasions.
Human mother.
And a puncture wound in the human dad. And then
Elle's like stitchable too.
Oh yeah.
And the dog's like under 6 months old.
She didn't get a stitch though, because who wants to go to coronavirus soup? Like going to the hospital is it's too scary now. People with kids, God forbid anything happens. Shout out to all the doctors and nurses risking their lives every day.
Yes, thank you.
So let's see, we had the growling at the kids, the puncture wounds, and then resource guarding. Specifically what the dog considered high value items. So he was guarding a lick mat, I guess. They put like peanut butter and stuff like that, or antler, bully stick, that type of resource guarding. So that's a lot, right? 3 phone calls, 24 hours, puppy pandemic problems, right? Or pandemic puppy problems.
Pandemic puppy problems.
PPP?
New podcast title.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Yeah, I'm
Pandemic
feeling
puppy problems.
Man, I knew that we were going to have problems, and then once everyone started adopting puppies, and I thought I'm really happy that people are finding joy in their dogs. I was just I was like, wow, we're going to enter a new problem here, like when dog training starts up again, or when this stay-at-home order. I just didn't know I'm like, what's going to be on the road? We have these dogs who are, at a very young age, 4 months old, put puncture wounds in the mother and father, and all of these problems all had to do with people giving the dog too much freedom and excessive love without structure. So if we can take one, point home today, because usually in the people pen, we screw around, we talk, shoot the shit, whatever. And then usually a parent will be like, oh, hey, you know what? Really, guys, I can't stress enough to give love with structure. All of these incidents happen, and at home, these dogs are allowed to just to walk around. It's not that I don't love my dog. If anyone sees me and my Rottweiler, most of the time he's in my armpit, and I'm lying on the floor, and Buddha's looking up at me, or Ruben's curled up. But when you see problems, you have to pull back. I mean, I'd like to think I practice what I preach, and when we saw any issues, we saw at one point, we saw Ruben kind of guarding you, Leah. And he would growl, and we're like, nope. So he got crated more often throughout the day. We made sure that we put him in, whatever, we took care of it. And with Buddha, I didn't leave him free. I mean, he's like a year and a half before I even thought of leaving him out of the crate at nighttime. I mean, I could care less if he was out of the crate. I knew that all the time I spent with him, we go on walks, 3-mile walks, we go on hikes in the woods. He's learning all the time. Don't be in such a rush to get your dog out of the crate. Stop giving him so many freedoms. You can still enjoy, love, and pet your dog, but if your dog is slightly nervous and he's always lying at your feet, or just you're constantly loving on him and there's no obedience, or he doesn't feel secure, or you're not doing these what Leah calls confidence building exercises, or know who your dog is and then really work with it. I feel like nervous about people during this time letting their really young dogs. I'm worried about separation anxiety. I'm concerned that I got 3 calls in 24 hours. These were people who had puppies, of course, and I was only able to do 1 class with most of these people before the pandemic hit, before the stay-at-home order went into place, and everyone got scared, and so I lost touch with them. And literally, I'm texting these people every day now. I'm like, all right, guys, today's day 1. Or like, okay, you got through the whole afternoon and night. You guys did a great job. Okay, here's day 1, the official from the start. Okay, how we doing? Like, I want everyone to be happy with their dogs. I don't want to have these problems.
Yeah, and I think that people right now, including myself, we are in this heightened emotional state because we don't have the normal things that are occupying our mental space, like the structure of going to work every day or going to school every day. Or for me, to think about the number of things I was doing in a day before quarantine hit and everything just kind of like, ooh. It really is making me not stressed, but I am hyper aware of everything going on in my life.
You think things you never thought of before.
Yeah, and I think what's happening with some folks is that they are doing that with their dogs because, and I think in all 3 cases that you're talking about, these are like hyper aware dog parents. Like they just have a lot of healthy anxiety and worry about the state of their dog and what's going on with their dog. And I think because they're spending 24/7 with their dog now, they're just like, oh, we have some problems here. And in addition to realizing that they have problems, I think kind of unintentionally, because they're around all the time, they're making those problems worse.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
And all 3 of those homes told me, I said, guys, this is a difficult time, and I know you're seeking comfort from your animal. And they said, absolutely. All 3 of them go, yep, this is a time I don't know what to do. Some of them have kids at home. Now they're a teacher. I mean, they're like ready to drink at like 9 a.m. and they're overwhelmed, and they have their dog and they're seeking comfort from him when he's really just a puppy, and he needs just as much structure too. So now you're a dog trainer and a school teacher and a parent. And if you work from home, well, screw that. Now you're a worker. You're a worker for someone else. And I totally understand taking comfort from your own dog during this time. My mind has been, I couldn't even function on Friday night. I was just staring at Leah until she finally like, okay, Lori, I shut it off. Because I couldn't do it.
Yep. I think everybody is very emotional because of everything that's been going on. You know, our life has been turned upside down. We don't know what our business is. I mean, we're lucky enough to be able to integrate into the workforce and change some of the ways that we do things so that we can still work right now a little bit. And I know that a lot of people can't, you know, and I know a lot of dog people are struggling. And, you know, I'm grateful for the ability to work, even if it can't be, you know, at full bore. But I just feel as though all three cases that you told me about, and then today I kind of got to hop on a call with you and talk a little bit about, it really is just a matter of things have changed so much in such a little amount of time. These dogs previously were getting that time in the crate where they could decompress and not have stimulation all the time. And now with everybody being home, they're constantly interacting with people, and, you know, if they have two dogs, like the other dog. And despite the fact that from our perspective, that could be a good thing, from their perspective, it's not, because they're never getting a break from you. Like, our two dogs right now are in their crate. Ruben's in his crate. Boo Boo's loose downstairs. But I guarantee you that they are sleeping right now because they need rest.
Another thing too is when we used to take care of dogs daily, I remember two specific dogs, they weren't themselves. And they were acting weird that day. I thought they were not as happy. I know it sounds ridiculous. Their mood was different, a little short-tempered with other dogs. So I said to the parents of the dogs, I said, hey, I'm not prying into your life, but is there some stuff going on at home? And I remember I dropped something once, and then I raised my voice another time, and one of the dogs who was acting weird, like cowered, put his head down. And I thought, maybe, you know, that's why I asked. I was like, maybe they're getting pissed off in the house at each other and they're yelling. And sure enough, both of the parents in these different houses had something going on that was causing a lot of yelling within the household. You know that tempers are running high right now. Because if I feel this way, and I'm a pretty I just go, but my rational side constantly duels, I feel like, with this manic side that I have. So if I feel this way, and I can usually keep things right or make an effort, people at home right now must be having their moments where they're yelling at the kids. Can you just listen to me for this one time? No, you can't walk naked. Bye. I'm doing a Zoom call now at work. Put your pants on. Get back in your cell. So these are things happening at home. Your dog is being exposed to it, and all the feelings that you have. You're nervous, freakishly petting the dog. You think that he can't feel that? He certainly can. You're screaming at the kids. He needs a break. He's exhausted. If anything, you're doing him a favor putting him in his crate away from you, because we're all a hot mess.
Yeah,
hot to trot mess.
That's one of the things I said on the call that we were on last is I don't mean to sound woo-woo about this stuff. Woo. But there is something to be said for your level of energy and your dog picking up on that. You know, it's like setting intentions. Like if you're stressed, your dog's going to pick up on that just like people can. You know, not just like people can, but in a similar way. So keep that in mind too when you're working your dog, whether or not you're just taking them for a simple walk or you're trying to do something more advanced. Your mental state is really going to influence them, and all the chaos that's going on in your house. If you're not able to separate your dog, make sure that you can, whether it's in a different room or we prefer a crate, even if it's an adult dog. Just simply so that when we do go back to normal, you know, you're not in a situation, because I think we were kind of expecting people who reach out to us after the quarantine, acquiring a puppy, blah, blah, blah. And then they go back to work and all of a sudden the dog's life gets turned upside down. But I think it's been interesting in this past week to get inquiries for behavior changes during quarantine even. So yeah, this stuff is real and it's something that, we're kind of witnessing firsthand. And to be honest with you, not easy to fix. It's not easy to, have another stressor on top of everything else that's going on with this quarantine, not knowing, when life is going to get back to normal. And then on top of it, worrying about our own physical health, because at this point, we all know somebody that's gotten sick, some worse than others.
We know a lot of people.
Yeah, and we know quite a few people, some that are even our age, that have been really having a tough time with this virus. So the stresses are there, and we definitely feel for you guys if you're dealing with health issues, and aside from anything dog related, it's a super super stressful time for a lot of people. So,
and as far as when you start to see the problems, guys, no matter who your dog trainer is, I bet you that they'd be so grateful that you called them the absolute second you saw a problem and you didn't suffer for 2 weeks or 3 weeks before you called. You know what? There's a million ways to talk. I don't love, doing the FaceTimes or WhatsApp or whatever. It's a little awkward for me. But just as talking on this podcast sometimes is awkward for me. But call them up. I don't care who texts me as long as I can help you. As long as I can prevent your dog from drilling another hole in you. I mean, come on. It's all right. Ask for help. You don't have to do it on your own. That's why you hire us. We're there to help. We want to see, any good dog trainer wants to see you live happily ever after with your dogs, because all dog trainers love to spend time with their animals. I wouldn't be able to chill with either one of my dogs if they were tools or I didn't address the subject right away. Like, we're here for you. So get out, go ask your trainer.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they're bored.
If you have a good trainer that you work with, that is a lifelong relationship. If it's not, you did not find the right trainer.
Yeah, we know everything about you.
Yeah, and we know everything.
I know when you got mad at your husband.
I mean, I drove through Winchester yesterday to drop off some stuff, and it was literally like I knew everybody walking down the road with their dog. Like, I mean, and I know everything about them. I know their kids' names. I know the activities that they're in. And it's like, I'm not saying that that's going to be everybody or every trainer or whatever, but there is an element of just having a holistic relationship with your trainer. Even if you haven't talked to them in years and years, call them up. If you're having an issue and they're a good trainer, they're going to help you out. And if no other reason, to just reconnect.
I had another woman email me, and she said, I trained with you in 2013 and she's getting a new puppy. And I'm really happy because sometimes I get a lot of, I'm working on the family's second dog or whatever, but her first dog that I trained is a nightmare. And I mean, I thought it was the way she described it. I'm like, oh, this isn't. And then as the emails came and the truth kept coming out, I was like, oh my God, why didn't this lady call me? This is out of control. And I was like, you have two completely separate issues. And so I'm going to address the old dog and the new dog separately, but I definitely have to be able to do a home visit, and that's not happening now.
Yep. Yeah, we've had to make a lot of changes to accommodate the social distancing and make sure that we're complying with those guidelines when we do classes. So from now on, all the classes, thank God the nice weather's coming, are going to be weather dependent and happening outdoors. And we're going to try to do it.
It's hot with the face masks on, but
you
got to do what you got to do.
And we're going to do the best we can. And it's just going to be... It's going to be a change, but it's going to be good because I think in the long run we're still going to be able to help people out and hopefully have some more focused time as well with people and their dogs. I'm excited about it. So
I think it's good too. Like if you take that hands off approach, so the person's working their dog the whole entire time, because you don't want to constantly keep switching leashes back and forth. And of course we have hand washing stations or whatever, you can bleach your hands out. I don't know. It's just like a nightmare.
Yeah, it's quite.
You should see me with the sanitizer. I'm like, can you just Lysol me? I'll just spin around. All right, just get everything.
Lift up your feet.
Did you get everything?
Spray the bottom
Do
of
the
your
pets.
shoes.
Raise your arms up. So
anyway,
it's I hope you guys are doing all right.
Yeah, I hope everybody's doing well too. Please reach out to us. We are around, available, and willing to talk about pretty much anything. So, a lot of the folks that are listening, we have a very personal relationship with you. So, thank you very much for tuning in and for all of your support. And again, if you are new to the podcast, please check out some of the older episodes because I have interviewed some super talented people. And many of them I've become close with, friends with even, and we do call each other regularly if it's just to check in or if it's to get advice. But this community of people...
Coffee talk?
Yeah, coffee talk. But the community of people that have been introduced to one another via the podcast has been really special. So I'm excited to continue this project when I can. And, when we can do face-to-face interviews are really important to me because I can get that good quality audio and also just a super authentic interview as well. So, again, please like and subscribe to the podcast if you're into this. Leave a good review. Tell all your friends. Follow me on Instagram because that's when you'll know when the new episode is going to be coming out. And, it was just really great to sit down with Lori today and talk pretty casually. We hope you enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks, everyone.